started. Always like to wait just a few minutes to give people an opportunity to come in. But I also like to respect your time and get you out of here in an hour if possible. And, this is way too much stuff.
Sometimes when you're a teacher, he's got some pages
So thank you all for coming out tonight. I know it's cold. I'd rather be sitting at home, watching TV and being lazy, eating bonbons or whatever we do. But thank you all for coming. It's important, this meeting and our next meeting, there's no presentation because it's kind of time to get down to business and make sure that everybody's got everything they need, all of your questions have been answered, all the new questions that have popped up we can address, and just start kind of really, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and making sure that the event on April 25th, which is 50 days away, I think, something like that, that we're ready for it. However, that being said, we want to continue to fundraise and we want to continue to encourage teams to sign up. We've got 2 new teams again today sign up. So we are right now, we're at 83 teams registered. We have 1,004 participants already registered, which is phenomenal. And we have raised, including what we collected at lunch today and tonight, right at $130,000.
That's just so good.
That's just crazy. I know Becky told me that tomorrow she's already got phone calls and she's going to pick up another 15,000. Just very, very proud, very excited. I can't thank you guys enough for everything y'all done this year. We're not finished by any means. We still have several good weeks of fundraising and of course to have the event itself. So I'm just really, really excited. I had the opportunity this morning to be at our Hope Lodge in New Orleans and speak to another event that it was doing sort of like a kickoff, their May event. And it's amazing how some of these events, they did some stuff in the fall. They weren't totally stagnant, but they're really just kicking off and getting started. So, and while I was there, there was a doctor that got up and spoke, and really energetic, real vibrant guy, young guy. And I don't have his name in front of me. Eric Griggs, I believe is his name, but he's on some of the radio shows and TV shows out in New Orleans. He does these wellness programs. And he got up and he spoke and he said something, and I want to share it with y'all. I've shared it with people that came to the lunch meeting. He said, when we talk about cancer, and those of us that have unfortunately ever been contracted with cancer, fighting that disease, or know someone who has, or survivors that have now been cured, we think about cancer as an outward thing, and especially those of us that have been fortunate enough not to ever have had cancer. It's kind of like the not my backyard syndrome. Cancer's just kind of, it's still that word that we like to really rather just tuck away somewhere. But he said, really, we own it. It's ours. It's ourselves that kind of get crazy on us. And he said, if you really want to simplify it, and this is what really impressed me, he said, if you think about having a classroom full of youngsters, and they're all, like you guys are right now, paying attention, being nice and quiet, behaving. You got a teacher who's leading the class, and the hall's quiet, and everything's good. And then little Johnny shows up. We all know little Johnny. And he can't sit still, and he can't keep quiet, and he can't keep rhythm with the songs that they sing, and he's just all over the place. And now it's a little disruptive. But then somebody sitting next to Johnny says, I like Johnny, he's fun. I'm going to join him. Now you got 2 or 3 of them disrupted, and then it starts to grow. That's cancer. That's exactly what happens in our bodies when that one cell decides to eradicate and just not behave properly. And then another one says, hey, I'm going to join that one instead. And then they grow. So I just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was pretty neat way of saying it. Sometimes it just has to be, at least for me, especially in my mind, has to be kind of simplified. It gets so complicated here. This month is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Every month we try to have a focus on a specific type of cancer just to bring education in, because we've learned, as you well know, that early detection is the key. and education and information about different types of cancer and how to prevent them, how to detect them is the key. The thing about colon cancer, and we've talked about this before, is it is one of the cancers that if detected early, is highly, highly curable. If you catch it in this early stage, there's a 90% chance that you can survive. However, if we don't catch it early, we don't get the screen, which everybody likes getting done, I understand. It's not fun. We'd like to talk about it, but if we don't get the screenings and it gets into the higher stages, then it's one of the most deadly cancers that we come across, one that we can't cure. Becky brought up a good point. You'll read in some of these journals or you hear your doctors say that you should start getting a screening once you turn 50 if you've not had one before. Well, that's fine in a family with a non-history. Becky, unfortunately, in her family, has had experience with colon cancer. And so she started getting tested much earlier as a result of that, to try to make sure that she wasn't having an issue. Thank goodness so far.
So far, so good.
So good. We had someone at our noon meeting that told us today that she also had a family history of colon cancer. Had lost some family members relatively young, and she started getting screenings at 18. And she's had 4 colonoscopies, and so far, thank goodness again, she's fine too. So when we talk about when's the right time to start getting tested, there's some statistics out there based on broad spectrum, but you have to look at your own personal family history and stay in touch with what's going on with your body. So, okay, so that we just want to bring that up, talk a little bit about that. We pass some information out to you. So now we want to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of our event. Maybe the team update. I'm going to let Bernadette come up and we're going to start talking about the event night and some of the things that are going to be going on, and I'll talk about some of these forms.
Kenny's our activities chair, so she's got a report because, I had to report for her because she wasn't at the other meeting, but she got it.
So Kenny's going to tell you a little bit about our activity, specifically about some of the judging that's going on and how that's going to work and stuff like that. So you can go with that. Or I just throw you off there?
No,
Okay.
I got this.
All right, you got it.
She's got a typed up report, dude.
All right.
All right, so the t-shirts, we'll need everyone to turn.
You can come up here if you like. You don't have to. You don't have to.
You don't want me on the camera.
Camera will find you.
Great. So we can make some people wear masks, right? All right, t-shirts, if you plan on getting your t-shirt judged, make sure that you bring that in on bank night, okay? Also, make sure that if you absolutely have to have your t-shirt back, then we understand, but I mean, if you don't have to, if it's one that you can donate to us, it would be greatly appreciated. Because I mean, it is a little difficult to try to make sure that we try to get that t-shirt back to you in time, okay? So make sure that you do turn your t-shirt in on bank night if you're getting that judged. Also, the banners, we're gonna do that a little different this year. We're gonna do, did we decide exactly at what point?
In front of the stage.
From the
It's gonna
stage.
be, okay. We're gonna do photos, and the photos are gonna be taken in front of the stage as far as the banner judging, okay? And we're gonna have like little numbers given to everybody so that y'all can hold those numbers up with y'all banners. Campsite judging, of course, that's gonna be done the night of the event also. As far as the food, we're gonna judge on appetizer, dessert, and main dish. Now, for the food, we don't have to have a big, large, dish. All we need is something for the judges to be able to taste. So just a small plate will be fine, okay? We don't need a big dish where it's, it's not buffet style. So we don't need a big container of it. And then also, we'll need y'all to bring in y'all 2 prizes for the Relay Madness. We used to call it Midnight Madness, but now it's Relay Madness. We'll need y'all to bring in the 2 prizes for that.
So a couple of different things. The banners, we used to make you stop either in front of the stage or go off somewhere. Now, to save you time, instead of the latch can stay continuous, it's just a little brief stop in front of the stage. Photographer hits it, we keep going, then they take all those pictures and they judge your banner for the picture. Campsite judging, if your campsite is decorated, they're gonna come around and judge it. Easy deal. On the activities, we have, you know, we call it Relay Madness, it's gonna be at 11 o'clock, because we're not doing it at midnight, obviously. And those prizes need to be turned in when you register in the Civic Center, and the registration starts at 3, from 3 to 5, so be sure to go register your team and then turn in. And look, these prizes, guys, they don't have to be anything elaborate. You know, some of the little trinkets that you win at some of these meetings, or the little license plates, things like that. Kids just like to get something. And most of the kids are the ones that participate in the Relay Madness, although there are some adults that try to make a couple of runs around the lap or walks or whatever. But it's a lot of fun, and we didn't want to do away with it. So that's going to happen. We're going to have an opening ceremony at 5 o'clock, as we always have. We haven't changed that. Some events changed their times because of the new models. I'll talk a little bit about that. And we're going to have our luminary ceremony at 9, followed by our fireworks. And then we're going to have a true closing ceremony at midnight. So our event technically is from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. So we cut an hour off of it, we shave an hour. And we fall into the in between the 6 and the 12-hour model, which ACS this year came out and said, hey, you know, a lot of events are struggling with the overnight event for a lot of different reasons. So we want to let you have a 6, a 12, or a 24-hour event, which took a lot of pressure and a lot of guilt off of a lot of events because they couldn't do overnight. You know, I was used to we did overnight events in Baton Rouge, and it was 6 to 6. And it's difficult to get used to not doing that. Am I glad? Yeah, because I'm getting a little bit uneasy sleep. But so we're doing like a 7-hour event. But by doing this, the goal is that we have a true closing ceremony at midnight, which means at midnight we can do our recognition. We can recognize our top teams. We can recognize our winners of our contests. We can recognize our sponsors again, and have a good crowd there. Because what I'm thinking is, typically after luminary, you start to see a little bit of trickle out, and once that kind of one camp kind of breaks down, then other people do. That typically starts around 10. Knowing that the Relay Madness is at 11, which is really exciting, then people will say, you know what, I can hang. We're going to have a good crowd still at midnight. You continue to fundraise so they're gone. But then we can have a true closing ceremony, and then it'll wind down, and at 1 o'clock, everybody just be out of there and go home. So we also have 3 bands lined up. Southern Cross always opens for us. I think they start playing around 4. Gonna get the crowd going. They'll be followed by the Yum Yum Band. And then we have a new band that approached us this year and just really, really wanted to be part of the event. And they are Natural Satisfaction. And they're gonna play all the way till 1, actually. Even after our closing ceremony, they'll finish us out for that night. Other activities, we have Mr. Relay contest. We're going to have our Relay Idol winners, I think, are going to be there as well, performing, and a few other things. Another new thing for this year is we're going to have actual true MCs on stage. You will not have to listen to me all night, so that's a plus. You get to listen to me all year long, so it'll be a break. We have Mr. Lonnie Thibodeau, who's going to come in and take, I think, the first half. And then we have our media sponsor, Sunburst Media, that's dedicated one of their DJs, or somebody's going to MC the second half. So that's going to give us some opportunity to get off the stage and go walk around and talk to the teams and eat some food. Oh, by the way, on the judging, they really do want you to just bring a little portion in. And I'm going to judge with the parents, so don't feel like you got to do the Food Network kind of thing. However, if you do have a large serving, you can just bring that to me. Don't feel like you have to just get rid of it. Just make sure you bring the handlers on to me. Just bring them a little bit. But they did throw a lot of food away last year because people did bring big portions, so we don't want to waste, so sell that or, yeah. Thinking about what else the event night,
We need the activities form filled out. Oh, I'm sorry.
so we need these activity forms filled out.
And campsite selection, I don't have a form.
These are now online. This form and the campsite selection form, which I don't have a copy of, but is online, are two forms that you really need to get. Now, they kind of ask similar questions, but let me just tell you the difference. This is really to help us create the brochure that we're going to hand out to everyone that comes to our event. So they're going to know what your team is doing. So if you're having a raffle, a lot of times I've seen you guys raffles and they'll have like 20 items on it. Put your top prizes on here. You don't want to list all of them. And if you're selling food, what food items you're selling. The cool thing about this is not only now are we going to have the ability to create a flyer that tells everybody what you have at your booth. Also on that flyer is going to be your booth address. Because your campsites are going to be picked before midnight. And you're going to have an address. We have been fortunate enough to sell sponsorship to all 4 of our streets. So now you may be site 33 on Butterflies in Flight Lane, or whatever we decide to call that for them. And so now people will come in and say, oh, look, my friend, that's their campsite. And yeah, they're the ones doing the hamburgers. Oh, look, they're right here. They'll have a little map, they'll be able to see it, right? Where should go right to them. How many of you have been in your campsite and your cell phone's ringing and you don't hear it, you finally look at it, you got 3 missed calls and somebody trying to find out where you're at?
Yes.
Huh? Where y'all at? Well, you see the Trinity tent? No. Well, you see the Civic Center? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now you can say, go to such and such a street. Yeah, go to such and such a street, and I'm campsite number such and such. And we're gonna have street signs out.
That's gonna be neat.
Yes. And I have already committed to, I am going to get little one-way signs. And we're gonna keep everybody moving the right way on the track. All right?
Do what?
I think we should have a backwards lap just because he's getting his one-way
We
sign.
can do that, we can do that. And then I think I'm gonna go get like a bunch of little Boy Scouts, 12, 15, something, little cop uniforms, give them a whistle. When somebody's going the wrong way.
Oh, they'll have a blast. $1.
Yeah.
Make them like one
It'd be a great
way.
fun, think of a team.
Yeah, they can have fun.
Write a ticket, right? Write them a ticket. Anyway, so what you're seeing is the ability to get organized and when you show up to set up, exactly where you're at, you know your address, and everybody else knows where you're at. So that brings me to the campsite selection form, which is
Online.
similar to this, because they're all online. They've got them all ready to go.
Nick says hello.
Huh?
Nick says hello.
So Nick was missing. I'm taking recovery his logistics form.
Time to do something.
The site selection form is basically exactly that.
Is that
It's
Nick telling me that?
asking you some questions and where you want your campsite to be. There's things on there that we really need to know. Number 1, how long have you been with us? That's important. We need to make sure that our returning teams get taken care of. Not that our new teams aren't important. People have been here 10, 12 years, they need a little special. Are you associated with a sponsor? That's important, okay? Because again, we want to make sure that it gets recognized. If you were with us last year and you liked the campsite, we want to know that. We want the same spot again, okay? And if you can't get that spot, what would be a better spot for you? And then where it asks you about what you're doing, what we're really looking for there is, are you bringing an 18-wheeler barbecue machine? Are you bringing this freaking Memphis inmate barbecue thing that we got to make sure we have room for? And what are you doing so that we can make accommodations for you? Yeah. So we need that. Cooking. I have child activities, whatever it is. So we can make sure that we place you. Most people will get their same spots. I don't see the reason why you wouldn't, except for the fact that we moved the stage. And we actually have a true, well-defined, well-lit up entrance to our event this year, which is our Relay Central team. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm so excited. We were able to secure sponsorship for it. So we're going to have stage lighting on the front. There's no way anybody's going to be able to miss where you're supposed to come in. Not that they will, but that's where they're supposed to. And if they do, that's when they get all the goodies. You know, they get all the information that's out on the tables, and the luminary tents will be right there for them to buy luminary bags. And then we're going to direct them. They'll get these nice little handouts to where everybody's at. And they're going to see we're going to have, guys, I'm so excited, we're going to have technology. We're going to have these TVs, not those, they didn't know what to have those. Something similar to that, set up in the Relay Central tent and maybe in a couple of other places. That's going to be like a rolling billboard type thing. So our sponsors will constantly be rolling on that. But as our activities fall off, somebody will be like taking that off the little rolling thing and saying, hey, up next, you ready for this? And Yum Yum Band starts at whatever, and that's going to be rolling. So communication, people will be able to see what's going on and not rely strictly on the announcements that they can't hear.
And when does Nick want us to return those campsite selection forms?
Same thing.
By the next meeting.
All these forms, we really, really want to try our best to have them turned in by the next team captain meeting, which is April the 14th, we think.
It is, I'm gonna check.
It is, April 14th, which is a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
A little bit off for us, for whatever reason, but it is. So let's shoot for April 14th. Of course, the sooner you get into it, the better, because Nick can start building his map.
If you fill them out and you email them to us, we can get them to the right person.
Okay.
Any questions so far? No, I'm
You don't
going
want
through.
to email it to us, we'll get it to
Yeah, I
the.
think I have both of y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can email it to us. He's going to try to get them where they're fillable online. We haven't got that yet. We just want to get them online today. Hopefully soon they're just going to fill it out online and hit submit, and it's going to go where it's got to go. I can remember when we had a paper map. I still have them, by the way. I kept every map I ever did for this event in my briefcase. Then Nick took over, now we got all the fancy electronic stuff.
Because Nick is awesome.
Well, he's not here, but he is.
I am here.
Exactly. This is way beyond me.
That's the student cutting up in class.
Exactly. There's the little Johnny. So any questions so far? I know I'm going kind of fast and giving you a lot of information. All right. So let's talk about event setup. We're actually going to start loading in this year on Thursday. Pretty soon, we're just going to get a room in area for a whole week. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to get in the big stuff on Thursday. Our production company this year is coming on Friday. I'm really, really excited about that. Because on Saturday, when everybody else is trying to get in and get all their stuff in, you've got these big trucks and guys putting up the stage and getting all that sound, and they're there till the 19th hour. Like, we're getting ready to start, they're still getting those last wires hooked up. They're going to come in on Friday. We'll get all that set up and tested, hopefully sound tested and done Friday evening. And then when you show up Saturday, you are our 100% focus. We don't have to be worrying about stage setup, sound setup. That's done. What can we do for you? Let me help you find your spot. Let me get you set up.
Can we still set up the bigger tents on Friday?
You can come set them up Friday, absolutely. Absolutely. The more people we have come in on Friday, the easier it is on Saturday. There's always something that I forget. Trust me.
Anytime Friday?
Somehow.
Anytime Friday?
Nick, you still with us?
Yeah, we'll be there with Mr. Renee on Thursday night, setting up the corners and the Relay Central tents. And then anytime during the day Friday, we should be there. Neil and myself will be there. So just have them come on out, and then Mr. Renee will anchor them tents down as we go.
Awesome.
Cool, thanks.
Pretty much anytime Friday, say from 8 a.m. Yeah. I wouldn't do it 4 in the morning.
Let me
You'd
get
probably
some.
by yourself.
I'll be sleeping too.
Yeah. So that's gonna be really, really helpful because of the production of this event. It's really important that we get these in place. Another really, you remember how we changed bank night? You don't have to come sit for 5 hours to pick your site. That's all done now. You just come, turn your money in, get your stuff, and you go. The night of the event, we are going to schedule you a money turn-in time. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean you stop fundraising. It doesn't mean you shut down. What we're saying is if you could bring us the bulk of the money that you have at your designated time, you are no longer going to have to spend an hour and a half sitting in the Civic Center, turning in money while activities are going on that you're missing outside. You come at your designated time, you turn in what you've got, go back to your tent. If you want to come back later and make another run, that's fine, but stick to your designated time. Have someone come turn money in at your time. This is going to do two things for us. Number one, it saves you time. Keeps you from having to sit in that Civic Center waiting while they're counting and getting receipts and all that other stuff. About 5 minutes apart is what we said?
Yeah, 5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes in increments, so we'll start bringing them in right after Luminar. We'll start scheduling them. You'll know this at bank night. You'll be given packet.
Your appointment time,
Your appointment
everything.
time. And so first off, it's convenient for you. Secondly, because we're going to have a close at 7:1, we really like to announce our dollars. And that gives them a chance to get those counted up so we have an idea where we're at to go at midnight. Rather than at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, there's only about 6 of us going, how much is that? And so hopefully it'll be exciting and we're going to surpass goal and everybody's, all of home will be able to hear us cheer. So that's the purpose behind that. I talked about campsites and cooking. Grease is always an issue. Be sure if you're frying anything at your tent, please let that cool off before you handle it, first and foremost. Then once it is, and you're ready to get rid of it, don't throw it down the drain. I know it looks convenient, there's nothing in there. It's not good. It's not good for the environment. There is a grease vat at the Civic Center specifically for cooking oil. It's on our side, right by where their kitchen is. If you don't know where it's at, find one of us. Let us help you get rid of that. Don't pour it on the grass, and don't pour it down the drain. If you're cooking, if you're barbecuing, and you're using hot coals, again, if you're cooking in your tent, make sure you have a fire extinguisher. Please bring a fire extinguisher. We're not providing those for you, and potentially you could be asked for one if for some reason the fire marshal decided you want to come take a visit. But if you're using charcoal, again, we don't have drags, at least at our campsites. But you don't want to dump that down on that cement either. And you certainly don't want to dump it in the grass. So please, again, let it cool off. If you're just not sure, let us help you. I'd rather help you get rid of it properly than have to clean it up the next day, Sunday, after everybody leaves, because we find these little spots of interesting things to just get left. Okay. A lot of the business stuff, right? Let's talk about fundraising. Who had fundraisers this month? You did. You guys had a tribute. And
Raised $4,800.
$4,800.
We had 21 teams show up this year. We had 18 registered before that night and had 3 calls.
And all 3 winning teams gave the money back to us.
All $600 in cash money prizes, and they all gave it back.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I had an opportunity to go by for a little while. I didn't play on the team. I didn't want to make anybody lose.
You're so boring.
But I did. I was able to eat a good hamburger.
Y'all charged him for it,
Oh, they
I don't know if he
charged.
paid for it. I wouldn't have, but I don't know if he did or not.
I paid.
I think he had already eaten by the time I saw him.
That's right. I ate a hamburger and then I snuck in some nachos. Right off my wife was on it now. So, but that was good. Anybody else? Who else had a fundraiser?
We did Links for a Cure, our school.
Right.
We sold them for 25 cents each, and we made a little bit over $11,000.
25 cents a piece. That's not even
Wow.
That is incredible.
There's no more construction paper at home, it's all of this.
Definitely not take Brent to school.
Who else? What about
That's
something coming
awesome.
up?
Congratulations.
You guys had your audition, right?
Yeah, we had an audition.
For Relay Idol. Saturday?
We have, it's been pretty good. We have, the finals coming up on the 21st,
Okay.
and then we have the wrestling coming up on the 22nd.
Wrestling, where is that gonna be at?
Evergreen Cajun Center
Green Pages,
And if
wrestling.
with Hacksaw Jim Dugan. And if you get a
I
gumbo,
didn't know what it was until.
they actually did a really big article in there.
Oh, pages.
The tickets are going really fast for that.
In the gumbo, we're trying to get the curry out of it.
Do we have anything
Not
online?
on me,
It's online?
It's online.
If it's online, I can, just make them put it up in the shop, so.
yeah. We're actually we're picking up the posters, on Monday. So,
That's coming up in.
Landing for
this
sure.
month,
yeah,
March the 21st.
22nd.
22nd. Who else has something this month?
We
Christie.
sell world's finest chocolate bunnies and the continental almonds, and we're also doing the butterflies. So we are sponsoring the butterflies for our survivors, and if anyone would like to purchase one to donate to a survivor, it's $6 a butterfly, or for yourself, we'll have enough for,
Nice.
the public to release as well.
And I
would
just-
really-
yeah,
Sorry.
no, so go ahead.
I would really, really encourage you to go back to your team. You know, and then maybe even one for yourself, you know.
I just wanted to say that, you know, Christie's team did that last year, with the shortage of helium and it being cost prohibitive for us to be able to do the big balloon arch and the balloon release like we used to do for the survivors all the time. It's really a phenomenal alternative to the balloons, and the survivors' looks on their faces last year when they got those little butterflies and they opened them up, and you know, it was just really beautiful. So yeah, thank you, Christy, for doing that, and we encourage all the teams to please do that for the survivors.
We release them at opening for the survivors.
Survivors ceremony at 7 is when we do the butterfly
Last year,
release.
it was kind of late, I found, one of the speakers kind of ran over. They like them to be released a little
We
before.
won't do that this year.
So as soon, I mean, it was kind of,
We took care of that this year.
Yeah.
We had a miscommunication. We wound up with 2 speakers, which we only expected 1. Out of the 2, one of those was a little lengthy. You know, you can't, I mean, what do you do? They're telling their story and it's difficult, you know, so. And then our poor survivors, they're standing out there on the track as well, you know, so we're gonna try to make sure that we expedite that.
I mean, the envelopes that the butterflies come in, I've just been getting the glossy envelopes so that people can actually see there's a butterfly in there. But I can have it changed. We can get purple with Relay for Life written on it. I mean, what do you think? I mean,
I would say, Christy, that I'm gonna leave that up to you, just simply because it's your fundraiser and your team's doing it, and, you know, I don't know what the cost would be between,
no different.
so.
I spoke to them today. It's no different. I've just been getting clear that way they just can see.
Yeah.
And then I guess my question would be, what would you do with the envelope?
They go in the garbage, you know, so.
In our tent alone, I think last year, we had probably 5 or 6 ounces.
Understand that. What do I need to do?
Well, one of the co-workers, her grandkids, and so she was able to hold it up and show without open.
Right.
Showed, we had several kids come in and we were showing them,
So they
this
could
is
see.
what we're gonna do, and show them the butterflies. Just the thought. just
And again, the purple ones are just gonna get thrown away.
And that's what I figured. That's why I've been involved in clear.
And I like what she brought up too, that they can show the kids, because otherwise you're opening it. So they
Take
can
hands
see
on
it.
it, take it off on here.
Right, and they go in there and hopefully. Okay,
Now, we also have a running raffle, we have a raffle
Oh,
tickets
yeah.
that have been going on.
And I have some info.
And we're running that all the way up, we usually do, about 10 o'clock relay night. We
Okay.
usually pull our names and stuff, and we have the big TV and the, rug, and, you know, we've got 24 this year. Yeah, we have 24 items this year.
who else got something? That's it? Okay, that's good. I had some people ask, Christie, if you were going to do written formats again this year.
Sure.
they really, now listen, we talked about it at the last meeting, and they said they did what? I want one. And for those that didn't know, her team was going to do as a fundraiser, get the trailer that you see at these events that you can actually walk in and use a bathroom, wash your hands, and it's really nice. And she was going to charge for a bracelet to be able to use it. And people wanted to do that. Well, unfortunately, the trailer couldn't come through. They had a problem with it. So the company, I think, gave her 6 or 8 portalettes, really nice big ones. And so being the fundraising guru that she is, she went and bought 6 or 8 blocks and rented them. So if your team rented it, we would take it, logistics would take it, and go in with the forklift and put it right behind the tent. So you had your own private portalette.
Waiting for them to call me back on that. We rented them for $50 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, $50 all night long.
Yeah.
Only you can use it.
We might want that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially with the
that's all
penny
up
team
for
and
the weekend.
Right. So
I don't
it
think
was
I
something.
used it, but
It was something that went wrong that turned into something.
We like that idea.
Now, we will-
Especially if you got a whole bunch of room to tent, you don't have to take all
Yeah,
the.
they went. We had people that was looking for
Yeah.
more.
And we were all the way in that back corner. by the-
Yeah, we're in the back corner
So
right
it's a long
there.
walk.
And look, the
Yeah,
event is
all the
going
way
to
back.
provide our normal ones for the public, and anybody else is not fortunate enough to rent one. And the Civic Center, of course, will be open for restrooms. But I did want to mention that. There is no,
Volleyball.
There is none.
there is no
No
volleyball.
volleyball machine.
Oh,
No
my
volleyball.
guys like to do that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the size of the event and the space that took up for the return on, and the logistics and getting the stuff out there, it just didn't, and we turned it over to a team last year. It was not an event. We didn't control it anymore. And she charged like $25 a team to play. And she made a couple $100, but she doesn't want to manage it this year. And so we said, look, we all have an agreement that we're just not going to do it. I'm sorry. However, if y'all want to go across the street, play. Okay, auction.
Normally, we just Google agenda, on the agenda, I'm not cute, but that's
Those
the
are
way
old
it goes.
agendas, and I'm just trying to make sure, I dug up the ones from last year to make sure I didn't forget it. Okay, auction. This form also is
She said
online.
I had paper left.
It actually has some here for you. We're gonna do our live auction, we're not doing a silent auction this year. We're doing our live auction, each team is allowed to bring one item for the live auction. It needs to be worth at least $100, please. It's really, really difficult to auction off something that when you start at 100, you don't get a bid. And the next thing you know, something like this, you say, okay, who'll give me 50? And everybody's like, Then you get down to $20. It takes a lot of time, not productive. So please make sure the item that you bring is at least worth $100. If it's a handmade item, it's going to be worth $100 anytime somebody puts that much effort into it, right? A quilt, or somebody brought some huge carpet lamps last year. So get these forms filled out. Now, your item, you bring it to the stage event night. Try to get it there early as possible. This form has to be attached to your item. If it's not, we probably won't be able to auction it off, because we won't have any idea who it's for, what it is. I need a description of what it is, because if you let me make it up, it goes south real quick. So make sure this is attached to your item. Tape it, fold it, whatever you gotta do, some kind of way, make sure this is attached to your item. And if I were you, I'd make a copy for myself. That way, when they take the form, they're gonna hand me the item. I'm gonna read through a quick description on it. I'm gonna get a good idea what I'm dealing with. I'm gonna hand them the form back. And then that was whoever wins that bid. Now they have the form, they can get the item back, and then that person will be able to come up and pay. Now, pay is another advancement. We take cash, we love cash. Check, and we take credit cards. Cool thing this year is we're gonna have the Square. That's just kind of hooked up to like an iPhone, right? You might have an iPad. Here's another thing that's cool about that. So we're gonna be able to collect as we go, so we don't have too much of a bottleneck after. If you have this app on your phone, and you have someone that comes to your tent, and they give you the land use, like I give the Girl Scouts in front of Lowe's, sorry, they don't have no cash. You can say, we take credit for it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Will we tell them that?
And so you can come to us, and we got the little thing that hooks up, and you can collect through credit card, right?
Well, I mean, if you have the app, you can do it yourself.
Okay.
You just have, on the app, you send them to your donate button on your app. They put in their information, they basically are donating to your team, and it automatically goes to your team, and they show it to,
You do it right off
show
your
it,
phone. You don't even
show
need
it that it's confirmed, and that's just it's automatically into your system. You don't have to worry about it. So every team has that ability.
What's the name of the app? Swear.
It's called Relay for Life, the Relay for Life app.
This is the actual Relay for Life app that, just like if someone was donating online to your team.
I mean, you can use that app to help you fundraise.
And I
to
guess
send-
they would just, at that point, they would just type in the credit card information on there.
Yeah, you
They
give it.
just click
You
donate.
wouldn't have to swipe.
No, right, there would be no swiping.
My goal, anybody knows what a QR code is? My goal is to have those around so you can just send your person, go here, scan this code, it's gonna bring you to the site, look up our team, donate to our team, come show me that you donated to your team, and that's just as good as it sounds.
Okay, so we use the Square for our team, like
Okay.
we have it picked up already. But if we go to the Relay for Life app, it'll just go straight to.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about paying fees.
Yeah, you Square, you have to pay a fee. This is what it's.
Yeah.
Golly, you pay that much.
We're gonna use Square just to expedite the function item. That's always a pain.
That will count as your $100 online. We won't be able to tell whether or not you did it there or after. So we're talking about the whole, especially before, if you do it just before the event, that will count as your $100 online.
It's so good.
Always tricking the system.
Gotta stay ahead of the game.
So let's talk about the $100 online. The VIP is alive and well. We are going to have a VIP tent. If you've raised $100 or more online, either the legitimate way or Ed's way, you're going to get a purple bracelet, even a bank night. So we will have a list for you that says, hey, your team raised, these members raised $100 or more, and here's your bracelet for them, so you give it to them. After Luminary, our VIP tent is going to open, and we're going to have snacks. And like we talked about, we have purple Kool-Aid, probably have some purple non-alcoholic daiquiris. I had the purple alcoholic daiquiris in the corner. But it's just a cool place to come hang out, and it's just a way to appreciate those that went online and did some fundraising. Our visitors that are coming in from all over the country, once again, to come see what it is us crazy Cajuns do down here. We'll also be giving VIP bracelets so that they can come and hang out and give the opportunity to network as well. So we got that going on. Any questions so far? Bernadette, you gonna tell me what I did want to show you this.
Good, dude. You got everything that was on the morning agenda.
I did want to show you this. This is one of the teams that was here for lunch. They're called Shrimping for a Cure. This is also going to get put online. The solution gets in the electronic version, but they sell T-shirts. This is their fundraiser for this month. So, really nice looking shirts. You get in different colors. And this is the order form for it, but Ed's going to also get that online for us as well. Okay, questions? All right. I do have something I want to share with you, some exciting news that we just got confirmed today. Yes, it is March. You know that in 2012 and 2013, Terrebonne Parish got the #1 rating for customer service in the world. Now, it's an honor to have ever gotten that in 2012. It was an even greater honor to do it again in 2013. Nobody's ever done that back to back. 3 times in a row for us. We scored a 91.
We will this year.
We scored a 91 You've done the survey, they ask you about your experience at the event. It talks about sound, it talks about coordinating, it talks about a whole bunch of different things, and you fill it in and you submit it. The national average for an event is about 70, mid-70s. So nobody's even doing it, which is awesome. But I will tell you this, I wish somebody would be. I know that sounds weird.
Just know there's somebody as good as us out there.
It's not. But I strive for that because that means we're making a difference and we motivate them to do that. We motivate them to make it. And that's the question I get asked as I travel all over the country, or from other different events. They say, what do y'all do? How do you do it? How do you do it? I said, well, two things. Number one, it's our community. It's our people. It's where we're from. It's our culture. Our event is the go-to event in our community. People ask all the time, when's your race? When's your race? They wait for real. They love real. People that aren't even involved. And I said, we connect with our community, we make it fun, we make it like a festival, and we just make sure that everybody gets taken care of. That's the most important thing. The second thing is you ask people to fill out the form, the survey. Because you have to fill out a certain number to even qualify to be counted, which is kind of difficult with some of the smaller events. But we encourage everyone to fill out the form. Now, I'll tell you this. We have over 1,000 participants so far registered. We typically run about 2,000 participants a year.
Site 17.
We don't get nowhere near that many that do the survey. And that's okay, but we get enough to qualify. And the ones that do fill it out, apparently are very, very happy. So thank y'all again, and thank y'all for all that work and stuff like that. But that's phenomenal. And it took them a while to get the numbers out because not that they didn't believe it. They knew we probably were going to get it again, but they had some issues with the forms, and they wanted to give everybody another chance to resubmit. Thinking some of y'all might have even got a chance to put a survey in if you hadn't already, because the system kind of glitched things up. So they ran it again, and then they finally said, okay.
That's the only email I read was the one asking for a survey.
There you go. Okay, we have some awards. Fundraising awards. Fun stuff.
Okay, Gibson Elementary, Rising Stars team.
Yeah.
I can take a picture of you.
Oh, you're supposed to be a photographer. It's a paparazzi. All right.
Right, Lisa Park Elementary, Rising Stars.
Taking you off is supposed to Rising Star.
I like that.
I was gonna say, how we got that?
From selling these shirts that everybody, this is our Thursday.
All right, it works.
All right. There you go.
All right, Euro Chicks, bronze team.
She's the Thursday uniform one too.
And
Yeah, it is.
just let
It is our
you
Thursday
know,
uniform.
as you turn in money, your fundraising level goes up. So I know some of you in here are gonna get assigned tonight, but you've probably already gotten to the next level.
Already.
So once I put the money in the system, I'll be delivering stickers and, because what you're gonna do is you just get a new sticker to put on top of the other one. So butterflies in white. And Friends Helping Friends. Friends Helping Friends? I know it's such a, oh, she just left, that's true. Okay, anybody here with Tubeloid? I know everybody's here with them, Workout 360, Nose to Trust, and the Cross Group, Unitech Training Academy. No? All right. We have the team captain's shirts here. I know some of you, I gave them to Christy, Ketty. I handed them out, but please feel free to come up here. They're in size order. If you have a co-captain on your team, like if you're the captain that's here and you have a co-captain that's works beside you, please feel free to take your Coke out and show if you know the size. And, we have those signs in the back that Bernadette's holding up right now. That's our event advertising signs. Those are the yard signs, okay? Please feel free to take as many as you want.
Why aren't those on both sides?
Because, don't know.
Most people put them this way, so when you pass, you can see it coming
Yeah.
from either way.
Yeah.
If it's straight facing the road, people aren't gonna go like, oh, look at that sign.
It costs you $5 extra. It
was, we were asked that as well earlier, and, it is a cost, but, I think we're working on some things that's gonna help us with that. We picked up a new sponsor this year, Commercial Signs, actually came on as a $5,000 level sponsor. So these were already done and ordered before, but they have done some phenomenal stuff. Not only for our event, but other events across the state. Almost everything they do outside of even just the sponsorship level is at cost, if it's for a relay. So,
And they're the ones,
Okay,
okay, let me just tell you, they're the ones who printed those signs.
Okay.
But they printed 250 just for our event. They did all of Southeast Louisiana, and they did them at cost, at $2 a sign, versus our ACS vendor that was going to charge us $5 a sign. Okay, so it was a significant savings by going with commercial signs.
Yeah.
And,
This year, we were running around making our own signs and
go see.
all this kind of stuff,
Yeah,
because it's like,
next
we weren't sure about the expense and everything.
if y'all give them the business, Nanette will do it at cost for you, or, not much more. She knows it's for relay.
And it was our tradition, we made our, we made it, we bought the blank sign, and we handed it.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a few issues.
On-demand advertising
yeah.
/ commercial signs there on St. Charles Street.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I think they actually making the signs out front of our building.
And
Yeah, they
they,
are. You went to see them yesterday.
Oh,
They
yeah.
do, they put together our billboards for this year, which look awesome. And they're gonna start running tomorrow, so you're gonna see those on all those flipping, electronic billboards all over town. And it's all donated. I mean, we're not paying a penny for any of that advertising, so, it's pretty phenomenal that they're gonna do that for us.
Also, something I didn't mention earlier, when we were talking about sponsorship, it's not too late to get sponsors. And one of the sponsors that's usually relatively easy to attain are the education sponsors. They're $100, and these would be like an educational message on hits, a sign just like this, that get put up around the track. Okay, so these are $100. You can sell these, and that goes toward your team. Any sponsorship money goes toward your team. Usually at the beginning of the meeting, I do ask if we have any new teams in the room. I think we do. We have at least one, right?
That's fine.
That's five. Welcome aboard. Thank you. And I know you're sitting there going, what have I done?
That's all right,
What have I
we're not
signed up
leaving you.
for?
I spent an hour with them. They're good.
You're with a good group of people.
Yeah, that's the only new team we have here tonight, right?
And technically, they're not new. They actually came on last year as a team. Yeah, last year was there, but it was just kind of close to the event. So they're really geared up and fired up and ready to go. So I think it's going to be a good experience.
I do also want to, while I'm thinking about it before I lose it, I want to, send out a thank you to Bernadette and the team ambassadors that worked under her this year, because we really took ownership of that program and made sure that new teams that signed up got a phone call from someone and said, what do you need? What can we do to help you? Here's a contact person, between Bernadette and her team of ambassadors.
So don't leave, because I gotta give you my contact stuff.
So I just want to thank her, because I'm going to tell you, that is so important. As you know, when you were a first-time team captain, it can be overwhelming. You get up here, you come to the meeting, I don't ever shut up, and you walk out of here and go,
What did he say?
what happened? So anyway, welcome and thank y'all. And thank
Just
y'all.
one more reminder, bank night, you can turn in your luminaries, the forms and the bags. We have bags up here, the forms are online. We need the bags alphabetized.
Please. We do over 3,000 luminary bags for this event.
If you know anyone who wants to help, but they don't know how they can help, if you have some young people that need service hours, relay morning around 8 o'clock in the morning, we need help filling the bags with sand, putting the luminaries out around the track, so.
They contact you for that?
Sure, I'll send them to the rep. Look, we don't know that answer yet, but yeah, I'll take the
My
contact.
manager's daughter, she,
Yeah.
but she came for trivia night, her and one of her friends.
Yeah, they can contact me.
Got service hours for that.
Contact any of us.
Jackie is probably tired getting emails from me saying I need some more feet and cupcakes and eggs and stores. We are now out of feet, except for the 2 feet that I walk with, that's it. But we still have cupcakes and moons and stores if you want to sell those. I have to take the leftovers home, so y'all take what y'all want.
It's good. So a couple of things too. Speaking of sand, we do have sand delivered. That's for the luminary bags and for our education signs. And every year I have teams that come up and say, hey, can we get some sand or something in their tent? They need to hold it up or lay down. That's not a problem. But please, before you take any sand, make sure that our luminary committee has gotten everything that they need. We'll never run out. And I really encourage you, after they finish, if you need sand, to please take it, because we have to put clean that sand up the next day. So I'd rather see it all be gone than, you know, put a hole in the yard, you know. Okay, any questions? And I've asked before. Yes, ma'am.
What night is bank night?
Wednesday, April 22nd.
Awesome question. It's on a Wednesday night this year. Typically it would be on a Thursday night, but it's on Wednesday night.
Usually around 4 we start,
Yeah.
with bank
And it's going to be
downstairs.
downstairs. You do not have to come into the execution room this year. It's the campsite again.
And the next team captains meeting is Tuesday, April 14th. Okay,
That has been confirmed.
That is confirmed, I did check on that. Our Survivor Celebration Dinner is still on Wednesday, March 25th. If anybody's interested in adopting a Survivor table to decorate for that night, please email me and let me know. I think we have 7 tables or 8 tables secured now, so, yeah, we're gonna adopt the table.
And then whatever.
And then whatever.
Yeah, and if you need us to do, we can do more than.
Yeah, if you need us
to do more than
Okay,
just
all
like.
right, then I'm gonna take you up
Yeah.
on that, yeah. And you guys, as team captains, are welcome to stay for the Survivors event and help us serve food and do whatever.
Activity.
Is that just Carroll Parish Survivor?
Yes. Yes, we mailed out 400 invitations to the survivors. I've gotten RSVPs now, I've got a few more today, it's probably up to like 35 or 40 now. So, it's by invitation only. They are required to RSVP, and each survivor is allowed to bring 1 caregiver. But at the Woodman of the World Building on Hollywood Road, the maximum capacity is 160 people. So that's why we do it by invitation, and we ask for an RSVP because we can only take so many people. So once I reach that limit, anybody who RSVPs after that, unfortunately, I would have to tell them that we're at capacity. So.
What time is the decorating meeting?
Decorating of tables will be between 3 and 5 in the afternoon. That afternoon, if you just come to the Women of the World Building, select your tables, decorate them. You can stay for the event, like I said, and you're welcome. I want you to take your decorations when you leave. The decorated tables are going to be according to the theme, All Aboard for a Cure. So however you decorate your table, you might be able to use those decorations at your campsite that night or whatever, you know, so, and all the food's been secured, the entertainment's been secured, the pictures have been secured. I think we're pretty much on course with that.
Yes.
Tables seat 8. Yes, there's 20 tables that seat 8 people at each table.
Now, we go there for our Christmas parties at work, and he puts these pretty white tablecloths on the tables. Is that gonna be there, or do we
No.
bring tablecloths also?
We're asking everybody to bring whatever they want to decorate their table with. I'm sure Mr. Gerald would if I asked him, but I would like to.
He's so nice.
Yeah, I'm sure Ms. Carol, Mr. Gerald would do whatever we asked, but no, if y'all could bring whatever is gonna decorate your table.
I just wanna make sure we had everything.
Yeah.
For 6 we're gonna take.
That might be.
I think it's a big one,
That might be 8 foot.
Yeah.
round.
I think so.
It's a
Yeah.
big one. It's.
Yeah, big circular I think it's 8, because we go there for Christmas party too.
Y'all, I think I've got everything covered, and then, questions? All right, we're gonna give out some